Hi, and welcome to another edition of Witch's Magical Cocktail
Hour.
Hour. Hour of Power.
So someone was trying to convince me to make this a half hour, and I thought, no, it's an hour. Other, why is this
Now
called
it
the?
now it makes sense, yeah, because of the
It's
name.
called the. It would be the, which
Which
is
is half hour.
yeah, this one.
That's dumb.
Okay, cheers,
Ha
girl.
but sometimes a half an inch is better. Half
Half
it
an
makes
inch.
sense.
Girl.
That's a book. It's a
Okay,
book.
stop talking.
It's a book by Victoria Beckham, and it's really important. I just had to put it in as a
Cheers,
thing because
girl.
it's not glamour. Sometimes an extra half inch in a heel can make or break it.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. No, we're already being stupid. I love
I
it.
know.
I love
Welcome.
it. We haven't even started yet. Okay, so what are we talking about today?
We have a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about fake witch shit.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about AI authors.
Hmm.
We're going to talk about what we're working on.
Hmm.
And what's that last one there?
So witches who are trying to be famous who really shouldn't be. Just
And let's
saying.
just talk about fame too, what that kind of is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of the gist. And of course we'll throw in a lot of off subject things
Right.
along the way, knowing
Right.
us.
Right. So okay, the first thing is the fake
Fake
witch
witch
shit.
shit.
Okay, you start us off.
Fake witch shit. There's a lot of um how do I want to word it? I made a post the other day. It's something that is frustrating because there's a lot of individuals who are now having books that are releasing. Some of them are self-published, and I mean that's their own right. But then some of them are from major big like publishing companies who are going after Instagram influencers who cultivate a a very lovely aesthetic for witchcraft on their pages, but they don't have authenticity. What that means is that they have these books that are coming out, and the information within them do not add up. They are missing historical pieces. They're inventing their own histories. They're doing things that just don't make sense.
Right.
And one thing that I've noticed, which I think is a huge red flag for any individual, it's like think about Wikipedia, right? And everyone always talks like Wikipedia pages are bad, but Wikipedia pages at least have sources. They have a resources section at the bottom, but a lot of these books have no resource sections. And some of that is because they didn't do their homework and it's all made up crap. And it's just it's very frustrating that us as authors, I mean, there's always processes of going through and trying to submit work. And sometimes our work is being overshadowed by these Instagrammable people or TikTok people who don't really have accolades. They've known witchcraft for a year, or maybe don't know witchcraft at all. They're just using it as a gimmick so that they can be famous or break into the world in fame in some capacity. Um, so, Chris, how do you feel about this?
How do I feel about this? So, okay. So those of you who have seen my shows and my podcasts and video blogs, I've been doing this for a long time, a long time. And I do think that there is value of hearing the viewpoints of brand new people. As a teacher, I can honestly say, my own students, they, as I teach them, I learned so much from my students. Oh my God, like they have brand new insights, they have brand new ideas, or they'll say, "Hey, Chris, have you ever thought about this?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, that was so insightful. Thank you for teaching me. I appreciate that." However, these are people who are doing the work, who are studying, who are learning, who are practicing. In practice, it can, like I have a teacher and I'm doing a daily practice, or it can simply mean every full moon, every Sabbath, every dark moon, whatever. That's a practice. When you have brand new people who, and I didn't say brand new people. I want to say people who haven't studied, people who haven't done the work, people who um, really haven't done the dedication or investment to really get the magic. And I'll say, before I found my first teacher in 2000, I worked alone. However, I read and I read and I studied and I practiced and I read. And so I'm seeing a whole lot of people who are trying to teach others who haven't really learned themselves. It's kind of like saying, oh, I'm going to teach high school kids, but I am a junior high.
Yeah, it's like I remember there was an analogy once. There was someone I knew, it's some witch event or something like that, but it was talked about. There was an individual who was, I think, 22 and was going to write a memoir on the craft. But it's also like, and there's not anything like wrong with that, but also you haven't like lived yet, right?
Right.
Like
Agreed.
it's like a 13-year-old teaching a college course uh, on something. Like there's some things where like you have to have experience, you have to learn, you have to grow. And that's not gatekeeping. It's just like I think it's just the reality of something. You have to go through things in order to teach them. It's like, and this just breaks it down to like a really mundane situation. So sometimes there's like individuals I've noticed, some friends and stuff outside of witchcraft world, but individuals who maybe had one relationship in their life and they're giving all this relationship advice to people who have dated for 10 plus years more than them. And it's kind of like, hold up, pump the brakes, back it up here. I thank you for trying to share something here, but that level of unsolicited advice is not helpful because you've not experienced these things. Right. And it is frustrating. And I remember when I was younger, I really wanted to, I mean, I was a teenager learning witchcraft and wanting to write a book, but I'm like, but also like, I haven't done half these things that like I'm reading about right now. Like, so how would it make sense for me to do it? But and then we live in an Instagrammable world. We live in an instant world, all about Insta. Yeah. You have the TikToks that have to be a minute long because our wave of consciousness now is not like that long. Or people talk about it, and I know I don't have the exact numbers there, but also think about our songs and the musics that are on radios. Songs are barely 2 minutes at this point because our attention span has gone down because of all of this instant like life stuff. But with witchcraft, I mean, it is a sacred practice. It's a spiritual practice. It's a religion. It's so many different things. It is what you make it, but you can't cut corners with it. And even spellcraft, people that get into witchcraft for spellcraft, spells are not quick fixes to change something, and it can't be instant. There are rules to it, like timing also. Like people want to know, oh my gosh, how do I get this tomorrow or the next day? It's like, it doesn't happen. We invented time as humans here on Earth. The universe has its own like time zone that like that it's in charge of. So I'm going on tangents here, so I know you've been wanting to chime in. So you have the floor.
So I think there's a big difference. So okay, let me start with this. There are a lot of young people. In fact, my very first witch teacher, he was actually initiated as 13 years old. He was also a teacher at 20. However, that being said, you can really understand the histories and you can understand the energies and the witchcraft. But there is something to be said about what you were saying about life experience.
Correct.
That's important because life experience teaches you how to incorporate the mysteries into your life and what that looks like.
But you bring up a good point too. I mean, if they like they were initiated at 13, I think is what you said, and then they were a teacher at 20, there's dedication there. They've gone through stuff, they've learned.
And they've had their own teacher.
It's like, would you trust someone that has studied medical school for 1 year to operate on your brain? If not, don't trust a witch that studied 2 months to teach you about witchcraft, basically is where I'm coming from it.
Yeah, and I have to agree because like I think,
or not only that, vet it too. Some of these people aren't even practicing. They're just literally capitalizing on a spiritual practice. And it's frustrating. And I also want to bring up to the point too, because I know there was a lot of online chatter about me at one point with the books that I was doing with my publisher, Callisto. because it was an algorithm-based publishing company that created these books and then sought out authors to write them for it. But at the same time, you know, us as authors, we had the freedom to write it based off of our experiences and change it. It wasn't fake to like, but now we also have segueing into AI, which I think is very, very helpful on a lot of levels. And there's, like anything, there's pros and cons to these different things. However, there's a lot now, and I've tried to get on the database. I don't know if you have, but a lot of which books have now been scanned into AI software, and they are literally writing these other books for it. I know, like Matt just posted something the other day about how Psychic Witch was completely vamped with AI and was put out by this other author that literally has like 100 books out. And why? How do they have 100 books out? Like
because it's AI.
Because it's AI.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about AI. So I think that when it comes, so for technology, when it comes to like science, when it comes to chemistry, when it comes to scientific advancements, I think is important. When it comes to art, I consider what we do as art and as science.
Art. It's a craft.
It's a craft.
What is craft? Art.
When it comes to that, they have to scan in someone else's art to create something new. And what they do is they're taking pieces of everyone else and trying to create something. So basically, that's plagiarism. Let's call it what it is. Plagiarism, let's say it together. Plagiarism. However, why is that okay? Because I'm going to tell you, those of us who are in higher education, if you write a term paper, a lot of professors scan it into a database, and if it's plagiarized, it flags it. And that means you fail. In fact, you get kicked out of school. Get kicked out of school.
And bring this up. So what I actually did, I've done this with several of my books too, because I'm always afraid of like accidental plagiarism. Like where it's like, I'm not like literally copying this, but also there's so many things that you can only say like in so many different ways, and you don't want us to flag it out. So like I've bought memberships with like some of these companies where I can scan in the manuscript where they'll flag like where things look like a certain percentage and stuff like that. And that has been helpful for me just as an author to keep my integrity and be like, no, that's kind of not what like it, or this makes sense. So luckily, like the last time, the things that they were finding were like my actual references section of book titles or my about the author section. So, or like a random sentence about like, just gonna throw it out there, but the earth is round. Something so common that like, I mean, it's just common knowledge.
My point though is that you're an academic, and if your paper is flagged for plagiarism, why isn't AI flagged for plagiarism? And we really need to think about that. And that's also why we're having the writer's strike, which is over, I think, and the actor's strike, because AI, because the same thing that actors are worried about is, can you use my face? Can you use my voice or my likeness? So if you're gonna have a cartoon of Chris Allaun, the Glam Witch, that is our likeness.
You should make that happen or something.
A cartoon. I think this is a cartoon. But anyway, how is that okay if you don't pay me? Because it's me, it's my talent, it's who I am.
Yeah, it's a real, and I mean, I should know more about it, but it is weird. What's that terminology? It's like some things are not written like for music, for example. I know like on YouTube, sometimes people can like repost a song, sometimes they can't. But if it's for, do you know what the terminology is that I'm using? Okay, then ignore all of this. But there's a terminology that's like, it's I want to say it's good for the people. That's not what I'm talking about. It's like where they're using it as an educational purpose to discuss the content. They can then use it in that point. And even those like laws are a little bit kind of funky and weird. I mean, I even know from doing my trademark right now, like sometimes trademark and copywriting stuff is just, there's so many layers to it on what's acceptable and what's not. Yeah. Sometimes it defies logic, but welcome to laws.
I think at the end of of the story is about integrity.
Mhm.
It's about
But you know what? And this is something I'm not going to share their name because I'll tell you later. But I don't want them to get upset if I was to say this. But I've had this conversation with a close witch friend of mine, and another author, and he I've been very, very frustrated about certain people who kind of get accolades for like literally just being aesthetic. And it's hard for me because I am the
yeah.
glam witch and I am about aesthetics, but it's different. And I love hearing it like Hex Fest and other things. It's like, Michael, I love that you're aesthetic, but there's authenticity behind it. But
Right.
this other witch friend author has expressed it's like, don't feed into these other people's situations. Let them do their thing. They'll eventually
What do you mean
burn out.
situation?
Like they don't get so upset about it because after a while people will start to realize that it's just like fluff. Just continue being authentically you, and that's all.
Okay, I want to bring something up. So I am a um I'm a licensed certified massage therapist. I'm also I went back to school to get my master's in divinity. I'm going to keep on going for my doctorate. And the reason, and what's so important is accreditation. And I know
But just a glutton for punishment, all that school and what? I'm just messing with you.
that's smart.
Let's throw in some she thinks
I'm
she's
cute and I'm smart.
thinks that little piece of paper is gonna make her feel smart. Sorry, gotta shade my sister for a minute.
But one of the things that someone said was that why should I, not I, the other person said, why should I do all that schooling when I can educate myself? Why should I um listen to an organization that's accredited if I can teach myself? Here's the thing. That particular person probably could teach themselves. I had faith in that. However, how many people don't have that thing to where they can educate themselves? I can't tell you how many people who have started schools and started education and have written books that isn't meeting the criteria, that there's no background check. There's no accreditations are there not to put you in your place or to like patriarchy. That's not accreditation. Accreditation is a group of educated people who say, we who are educated know that these things are also educated. So like when someone says, oh, I'm a high priest, that's great. Are you educated to pastoral counseling? Can you do grief counseling? Can you do crisis management? If there's a disaster, do you know what to do? What does that mean? And so if we take it to things like that and superimpose that on teachers, on authors, as leaders, and I'm not saying we have to have an accreditation for these things, but we need to have people who are educated in witchcraft, in paganism, in magic, in shamanism, and so forth, saying these things are okay to be taught. These things need some help. And I'm not, we're going to say that, hey, you aren't up to par. Let's help those people. Let's educate them. Let's help them become better authors. I'm not saying you can't be authors, you can't be teachers, but let's help them elevate. Let's help them become better. What do you think?
Yeah.
Cheers, girl. Grab your cocktail. She was like,
I had a point and it flew away.
I
was
yes.
so I had something I wanted to say, and then like I was focusing on so much that it like kind of disappeared.
Well, one of the things I hear about like accreditation and having other people vouch for you is, oh, I don't want the patriarchy telling me what to do. It's really not about that. It's to make sure that when you are being taught, you're being taught by people who know what they're talking about, because I can't tell you. And everyone, because you've heard me say this so many times, I've worked with a Native American spirituality, Lakota, Tradcraft, OTO. I've worked with a lot of different people, and you have to make sure whatever you're teaching or talking about or reading is up to standard. You just do.
And I, for the flip side to all of that, am completely solitary and self-taught through books. But they were coming from individuals who also had their accreditation in their own way. They had their own accolades because they'd been studying for 15, 20 years. I remember that was like at one point.
Teachers, though?
Fiona Horn, Christopher Penczak. I mean, Dorothy Morrison, Silver Raven Wolf. I mean, those were all the books that I was reading. And each one of them at the time was, I've been practicing witchcraft for 15, 20 years. And it's like, yeah, I mean, that right there is a feat. Like I have been studying for 20 years, right? Like by the time I wrote the first book and put it out there, I want to say it was like 17 years at that point. So it's like, not for nothing, but like, this hasn't been just like oh my gosh, a frivolous little activity for me. Like I put my heart and effort into it, So
who was it off? So I can't remember. So audience, you may have to help us chime in. So there is an author, a female, and I can't remember her name. I think I'll pop it out. Who she got signed with Weisner, right? And I think she was only 22, and she was writing on Kabbalah or something like that. And,
I know what you're talking about.
And all of a sudden on social media, you see her taking pictures with Nazis. And everyone is like, oh, but she's only 22. She didn't know. Okay, let's talk about that same thing about how, yes, you may understand the technical aspects of Kabbalah, but you don't have the life experience to know if I'm going to be a teacher, and if you are writing a book, I'm sorry, if you're writing a book, you are a teacher, like it or not. Like it or not, you are a teacher. How do you not know you're associated with the Nazis? How do you not know this?
But it's also like, think about so many other industries within the world, just professionally. Most of them have a background check or something where they vet somebody before they do something. So that is also an issue with, the vetting processes of some of these publishing companies. And because, unfortunately, we also are in this, I mean, we do have people that want to capitalize on things. And I get it. Like if you have a business, you want to sell things, you need to make money. I get it. But I feel like we've swung so far to this one side where it's like, let's take anything in that we know will sell just to make quick cash. And it's just so frustrating. Like it's like I talked about it briefly earlier on, but I'll hit home without really like fully, trying to rip someone a new one. But like I was really excited for a new book that was coming out. I got an advance copy. Very beautiful book. Very well-known individual. And they have a section on Lilith. I've done my whole life has been dedicated to Lilith. 20 years devoted to her. I have my first book to her. And glaring issues in the historical analysis of her. The historical analysis was literally Sabrina, the chilling adventures of Sabrina Lilith, and not actual factual, historical, relevant analyses. And then we get into the astrological component, only talking about one astrological Lilith. There's three, right? And it's so misused. It's so like completely bastardized on like Cosmopolitan, TikTok, all of these things talking about how, your Lilith sign is wholly sexual. It's not. It has to do with so many different layers of it. And there's three. They all do different things. So it was just like horribly written. And like that made me like not interested in anything else that book has, because you couldn't even get that in there. And there is no bibliography. There is no references section. That's just weird. but a lot of books are having that lately. Like it's very frustrating. Like, I don't necessarily need every book to sit here and have like footnotes at the bottom of it. And there's something to be said for that because that's also technically like from a writing standpoint, that's more for academic works, not necessarily
Sure.
witchcraft, philosophical, magical texts. But it's also that's another reason why today we need it because we've had so many other people spreading lies and misinformation, and it's creating more misinformation. And it's just, I've never been that one that's been on like that, oh my gosh, stop spreading misinformation bandwagon until I guess now. And it's
I am on that bandwagon. I am on it.
I've always been just kind of like, here's the deal. If someone gets the wrong information and they're really passionate about the subject, they'll be drawn to other books and they'll get the right information.
Not always.
Not always. Yeah, you're right there. But that was kind of my philosophy at one point too. And so, but no, I hate it. It's like, how can you get the very basic, the most basic part of an entity's story wrong? Like that's just mind-boggling to me.
Girl.
That's like literally being like Aphrodite was the god of nightmares because I saw a TikTok on it and it said that you know, or Hecate is the goddess of love spells. No, I mean it's just not. It's not. It's not. Like that's not there.
Okay, so let's do a switch.
And you said half. See,
I know we get ranting and we
um,
ranted all morning at brunch earlier. See, I was telling him earlier because we have witch brunch, and so I'm like witch brunch. I love merging words together, so I just want to call witch brunch from now on bitch. I think it's cute. Let's go to bitch. That's what we do anyway.
Okay, so
Humor.
what are you doing? What are you up to? What's happening? What's new?
So I just got my edits back for my next book with Llewellyn that's coming out next year. It's on astrological glamour magic, and I'm excited about it. This is new for me because it was like the first time from a publishing perspective where I had to turn the whole manuscript in at once. All of my other previous ones, it's been like increments, like four increments through. So I was really nervous about it because it's just, I always, whenever I'm working with like a new publisher or at least a new editor, I always look at it as like the first 2 weeks of a new college course. Like, I don't know how I'm going to grade it yet. Like, I just get anxiety from it. So, but it's really good, and I'm excited. It should be coming out late fall next year. So like November 2023 is like the estimated date at this point. I mean 2024. Yeah.
So my new book is coming out on Halloween 2024.
Oh my gosh, well they'll be sisters like us.
So wait. We have a habit of all of our books from completely different publishers being published at the same time. What is that?
Because we sisters. We see each other.
So the book I already wrote and done. What can I say? So I'm still currently promoting the Black Book of Jonathan, Not Bristle. If you don't have it, get it. It's awesome. It teaches storytelling, magic, and traditional witchcraft and so forth. And I was actually surprised. It did it as a favor to the Malloway brothers who do Cross and Crow books. I did it as a favor to them, and people love it. People are like, "Oh God, I relate to Jonathan. I am Jonathan. This is me. I love it." And they said, "Well, we want a sequel." And I don't like to repeat myself. I don't like to do something I've already done because I'm boring. I'm a Gemini, so you know. However, the new book is a similar style of storytelling, but I can say it is a magical grim war set in Chicago.
Where we live.
That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Because until it's all
don't
done.
tell too much because you know a bitch will be out there fucking trying
AI, those AI people.
AI create it, pop it out in a day.
Exactly. However, so that's coming up, And I'm excited about it. And we're at the point to where they're saying, let's talk about the cover art. I'm like, that's awesome. Here's my 3,000 ideas. Make sure you do all of them. Just kidding.
Well, speaking of Crossed Crow, I also have 3 projects in line with them.
Tell me about that. I'm interested.
I can tell you about
Just
2.
wanna know.
I can tell you about 2.
That's-
One of them I can't talk about fully yet. But okay, so a lot of people know me, the Glam Witch, devotee of Lilith. My first book was The Glam Witch. I used it as kind of a double-edged sword of glamour, but also as a devotee of Lilith, and I used it as an acronym, Great Lilithian Arcane Mysteries. So in all of this time working with Lilith, she's now led me to Aphrodite. And I've been slowly introducing Aphrodite in my practice for like the last 2 years. And we're really hitting home now. And so I really want to do a book like the Glam Witch on Aphrodite. So it will be the Love Witch, Laws of Venusian Esoterica. That's that acronym. And so that will be my book with them. It's not going to be coming out for a while though. It'll be 2026 because I want to spend more time really cultivating my practice and worship with her so that it's authentic and not just a quick AI book for a money grab, because it's something that it's dear to me. And I love it too. If you know anything about Lilith's story, she was initially the handmaiden to Ishtar. Ishtar was the prototype for Aphrodite. So it's kind of, the progression makes a lot of sense. And it's been very interesting shifting and working with the 2 of them, and the dynamics and the paradoxes between the 2 are very, very interesting to me. And I feel like they're very much operating on the same, like 2 sides of the same coin. And so I'm very excited for that. And that book will have a companion oracle deck, which will be great. I'm going to be doing the art for it. It is going to help you tap into your desire. So all of the different levels of desire and the opposite of desire. So you have a good mixture of those things. And my kind of take to it too is that Aphrodite is the goddess of desire. If we really want to look at like what the very first thing that we learn as witches is, it's creating change with our will. What is our will? Desire. So I mean, to me, she's a goddess, a quintessential goddess of witchcraft. That's really the case if we really look at her. So many people like, and I blame Xena, even though I love Xena. Like the portrayal that Aphrodite is just some ditzy dumb goddess. She's not. She's been revered and feared by so many cultures and all of these different names because she was the goddess that controlled your love, how you looked, and your money. You don't want to fuck with anybody that has power over that.
Right.
So I'm excited to go down that road. So that's exciting, and there might be some other little things sprinkling along the way, but I can't give too much away on that yet because we haven't finalized stuff completely. So
Yeah. So
oh, and then another thing actually, because it segues into something else I want to talk about. So I also very likely, so keep an eye out on social media and stuff, but it looks like me and another, and this is news to you too, me and another prominent witch might be hosting a retreat next year in the spring.
wait, how do I think it is?
No.
Oh,
And so it would be a retreat that's anchored in Aphrodite and Lilith, and it would be a fierce, feminine, you tap into your goddess time. And I'm really excited to explore this, and hopefully it lands lovely. But the reason this came up is because we were talking about our frustrations with a number of Instagram individuals who have now been hit up by these retreat companies that specialize in retreats, and they sell these packages through these individuals to go on these retreats, and like they make money through it, but all they have to do is post about it on their page, but they're not actually going to the retreat. Like it's their retreat that they're not going to. It's like a weird cash pull thing. And the word on the curb, like that's circling around, is that a number of individuals have kind of either been hit up by this, like for this potentially, and have rejected it. or some other well-known individuals are doing it. So it's just be mindful of like these retreats and kind of look into the companies that they're using for these retreat systems and situations. Because there can be some fakeness to it. So it's frustrating stuff. But there's so many other wonderful retreats and things that are happening. So I know like my friend Veronica Varlow has a really wonderful retreat in New Orleans called Witch Camp. My mentor Fiona Horn is doing a fabulous one in Egypt. She's got multiple ones. So for women only, a queer one that's coming up. So keep an eye out for like, and you should be able to tell the authentic ones that it's not just photos of the space and the place, and there's actual photos of them in the space and photos of them with their guests. Pictures tell it all.
Yeah. So let's talk about Samhain.
Okay.
Let's talk about Samhain. So,
Sam Hain.
stop. So, here's the interesting thing. So for me, and I think of a lot of references, Samhain is a time. It's a tide, like Yule tide. We have Samhain tides. What that means is that it isn't just a day. It's not just a day. In fact, for a lot of us, it's our busiest time of year.
Not me. I took it off this year. I took October off. Listen, I've been in boy drag this whole month. I've been in sweats, and no makeup and no hair and just been bumming it. You know why? Because the witch is tired. I'm tired. I've been working my ass off and I need a break. So this to me, Samhain is a time of rest, honey. Rest.
For me, it's a time of work. So I don't know about this bitch, but
It's been a time of work in the past, but you know, sometimes you gotta take a break. It's like the Four of Swords, girl. Okay, it's in the deck. It got pulled this year for me.
so okay. So for me, Samhain starts today, which is actually the 28th of October, which is a full moon, which is a full
It's a
do you call it?
lunar eclipse.
is the
And
lunar
it's a
eclipse,
full moon in Taurus.
a blood moon in Taurus, girl. Okay, so we have that, and then
I love a Taurus
Halloween.
moon though. It's all about being decadent and worshiping yourself and drinking and eating the good food and having some good sex. It's good. Ruled by Venus.
For the rest of us, it's about, so for me, it's about like conjuring the spirits, ancestor, dumb supper, graveyard work, stuff like that. And you know, it's interesting because I've known some witches who are like, I don't celebrate Halloween. I only celebrate Samhain. Girl, I celebrate Halloween. I have a good time, right? But don't we have a good time?
Yeah, yeah.
We have.
And well, but then there's also, I mean, Samhain is typically worshipped on Halloween, like the 31st. But Samhain astrologically happens
It's on the 7th this year.
when the sun is at 15 degrees in Scorpio.
Yeah.
Which I think it's this November 6th this year, if I'm correct. It's either November 6th or 5th.
I could tell you it's on my calendar. Hold on.
I just looked up the other day, but I don't remember.
Hold on, I have it right here. It would be.
But yeah, it's so basically, yeah, this entire like next week.
It's the 7th. It's the 7th.
Okay. Yeah.
So the 7 days of Halloween.
For real.
For real.
Yeah, we keep it alive.
Well,
Tell Mariah Carey to hold up and don't let that bitch out of the icebox freezer until the 8th.
so
Keep listening to Kim Petras' scary Halloween album. No one gives no credit to that album, but we got a whole pop electronic Halloween album that people want to sleep on. Anyways, had to put in some pop culture.
wait. What are you talking?
Kim Petras' Halloween album from a couple years ago.
Wait,
It's good.
it's called a Halloween album?
It's called Turn Off the Lights. There's a whole song where she sings with Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. My mother. No. It's a good album. There's a song called Demons, Knives, Death by Sex.
How have I not heard any of this?
I don't know, girl. Well, we'll have to show you after this.
I guess.
Yeah. Purgatory. Oh, it's Purgatory. So another song called Boo Bitch. Mhm.
Hold on, I have to just stop.
I think it's another one called like Everyone Dies. Yeah, Everybody Dies. It's good. No one really knew her back then. It was cute. It's
What?
like this big claw, and it was like it's got these
What?
big pink nails. Oh my god, it's good. How do you not know? Do you know why? Because this bitch always talks about Madonna. So her brain cells are only taken up by Madonna is 90%, and
Don't
and
hate.
like
Don't hate.
the next 8% is witchcraft, and then
Right. The
everybody
8%.
else gets the 2.
The 8%. The 8% of my brain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Girl,
But the 90 is Madonna.
you know what?
You know, that would be a good book for you to do one day. The
Madonna and
magical
witchcraft.
Yes, Mystic Madonna. Mystic Madonna. The
She'd be like,
queen of
quit talking shit about. Yeah, be like, Madonna's mad at me.
you know she's a witch. Come on.
I heard rumors. I did hear some rumors. I'm not gonna say them because I don't talk. So ask her because she does. Hear what you hear.
I just heard this. I mean, she's taking pictures with that one book, Pop Magic, by the guy Alex something. I mean, if you watch any of her fucking music videos, it's witch stuff. Her daughter just released a new song that's called Spell or Spellbound or something like that. It's really good. It's all magical and witchy. Yeah, like I mean, Lourdes. Yeah, but she goes by a new name now, or her band does. Anyways, we're getting off topic, but that's why you watch us, because this is hot witch topics.
Cheers. What's this cocktail hour? Clearly.
Yes, it's witch brunch, bitch.
God, I hate her. I don't know why I hang up this guy.
Because I'm your younger sister.
Did I think that? Wait, it's true. I'm gonna hate mail. Chris said the C word. Fuck him.
Yeah, cancel this bitch.
Cancel me.
Cancel my
That's
big
fine.
sister.
True.
Whatever.
Anyway. All right. I think we're coming to the close of our hour, 45 minutes, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Anything more to say?
Thanks for joining. I love that we do one of these like once a year or once a quarter.
No, it's like once a quarter now.
We always try, but then we get busy because we do brunch, and then our brunch place closed all of a sudden, and it was like so heartbreaking. And then we went
Wait.
to the doors, and the doors were locked when they said they were open. But let's get real.
Wait, that's true.
And then we
the
walked around
website-
town, and we had to go to this other place. It was just a messy ass day.
It was nasty.
But then guess what we watched? Because I'm gonna get all my gay cards taken away right now. I'd never seen Romeo and Michelle. And then my sister over here showed me Romeo and Michelle.
And I never seen Barbie.
I'm a Michelle, and I showed her Barbie. And then we watched the Addams Family. What a great day.
If you weren't filming that day?
Yeah,
That was like 4 hours of girl.
we had a day.
Yes, we did.
It was fun.
Was that last week?
No, that was my mom. No, it was before.
Was it?
I remember because it was Libra season and I had birthdays to go to.
That's true. Oh, I'm over yawning because I'm getting tired.
I'm sorry, sleepy ass
I am
bitch.
tired. Girl. All right. Thank you all for joining us. Please leave comments, like us, all those things. No, I don't care.
Tell us what you like, what you want to see. Do you have questions for us? Ask the witches.
Oh,
What do
yeah,
you
ask
want to
us
know?
questions.
Ask us questions. We'll answer them for you. Do you need a spell demonstration? Do you need us to show you something? We'd love to share. I'll do it.
You can do it.
We'll
You
do a
did all
segment called Magic Mike. Oh,
that. I take my call.
cheers!
Wait, pork crab. Oh, you should write a pork crab.
It's a good one.
Cheers to
Plan it
that.
out so that no witch steals
Yeah.
that shit. Because you know some bitch will. One of these little fucking, anyways.
Start
AI
writing,
bitches.
girl. Start writing, girl.
I'm writing a lot.
Oh my God, I'm taking a break.
Maybe
I'm
that can
taking a
maybe that can
break.
be a chapter in my Aphrodite book.
Pork crab. I have so many bad words I want to say to you right now.
Well, it's time to turn off the camera and well,
Pork crab.
you should write that book, girl.
That part.
Bitchcraft was already written. That was Fiona's chapter in her first book, and then everyone stole it.
Please.
I know. See, my mentor, she influenced everyone, and they all stole from her.
See,
Rude ass bitches.
I know.
Give us some credit.
All right. All right. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon. And I'm
Bye.
going to turn off this recording as soon as I can. We'll see you soon.